Hey everyone, welcome back to Beauty in the Chaos here at SGYM3. I'm back with more questions, and the middle schoolers did a great job of giving me more questions because I remembered to actually put the lovely box out the last edge. So look what happens when you actually remember to do the things you're supposed to do. It's very exciting. Now you may notice that my voice sounds a little tired. It's actually because I was at the Brave Retreat. The Brave Retreat is actually for young adults. Now, I know this is meant for middle schoolers, but I'm going to give a little shout out to the young adult retreat that we were just on. Here at St. Greg's, we're super blessed to have middle school, high school, and young adult being ministered to here in our office. And our young adult, headed up by Adam, who's awesome sauce, he led a retreat this weekend at Camp Turner for about 38 young adults. And we had a fabulous time learning how to be brave and blazing a trail. Right here. This is actually the group that was on the Brave Retreat. You may recognize a lot of the middle schoolers because your core team, a lot of them were on the retreat. So it was a fabulous time. But let me tell you, my voice is tired because I did 3 days of music. So I'm sorry if I'm not as loud as I usually am, or I'm coming off a little raspy. It's because my voice is tired, but I'm excited to go through your questions. The first question is, have you ever watched Veggie Tales? What is your favorite episode? Fun fact about me is I really didn't watch Veggie Tales as a child. So I don't know much about Veggie Tales. I know Larry the Cucumber and I think it's Bob the Tomato. And the only one I really know is Cebu, something about is it camels? The next one. It says, I don't have much to say, but hi. Hello. What is your personal favorite prayer? Okay, so for me, music is really big. I love praying with music and leading worship and doing music. It's kind of become a recent thing in the last couple years. I've always kind of loved music, but I've never really been comfortable leading worship, and my music journey is a story unto itself that maybe at some point I can share, but I love doing music. Another dating question. I don't know why I get asked the dating questions, but I get asked the dating questions. So here we go. Nicole, what is your opinion of a Catholic dating a non-Catholic, but the person you are dating still loves God? So this actually happens, I think, quite often. There are a lot of different denominations of Christianity in our world. I don't see it as a bad thing. I don't see it as impossible to do so. But it's a question that I think as someone who is dating, you really need to ask yourself. What are your standards? And what do you really want in a husband? What do you want in a significant other? If the significant other constantly bashes you for your faith, Catholicism, what the Catholics believe, degrades you for what you believe, questioning is different, wanting to know the answers, that's okay. But when it comes to degrading and constantly knocking you down for being Catholic, but yet they love God and they're in a different denomination, that is not respecting your faith. So it's a real thing that you have to ask yourself what you're willing to bend on and what you're willing to talk to your significant other about. Now, if your significant other is open to becoming Catholic, that's awesome, but I'm not going to say it's impossible. It's not impossible, but it's hard, and you really need to have an honest and open conversation with your significant other. Now, like I say to you middle schoolers all the time, you shouldn't be worried about dating yet. You've got plenty of time. Okay, so how do you know if someone becomes a saint? That's actually a really awesome question. So, because we canonize them? That's kind of the most basic answer. For us here on earth, canonization, so someone being canonized as a saint, tells us that they're in heaven. So anyone who is a capital S is a saint, is in heaven, and that tells us they're in heaven. There's a whole way, a whole journey and steps that the church takes to make sure that this person is a saint and is truly in heaven, which includes miracles, intercession, investigation on their life, and things like that before they are considered saint. There's a whole process, and then it's like a big announcement. So, and you all have the possibility of being a saint. Don't ever doubt yourself. Just because you're a middle schooler doesn't mean that you can't become a saint. You can do it. There's been saints of teens and preteens, 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds, some even, I think even younger 8-year-olds who are saints. So guess what? You can be a saint even as a middle schooler, so you can do it. The first question is, how can I get into the habit of reading the Bible every day, even when I don't feel like it? I totally relate to this. It is really hard for me to sit still. I swear I have like ADD or something, and I'm not even joking about that. I'm super hyperactive, and it's very hard for me to sit still. Even like doing these videos, I always just want to get up and start dancing, but it's hard for me to sit still. So sitting there reading the Bible is actually quite hard for me. But the important thing is, like, you have to do it. The word of the Lord, the Bible, is from God himself and gives you instructions on how to live life. And if you're ever like, God, I never hear God talking to me. Well, open the Bible, because that's how he's talking to you. He tells you exactly what he wants to say through the Bible. So how do you do it even if you don't want to? One, you just got to do it. You have to make the choice and the decision to get up or sit down or like wake up in the morning or before you go to bed. You just have to start doing it. Again, not easy. I'm not saying that I'm spectacular at this, but you just have to try and start doing it. For me, one of the things that I like to do is called Alexio Divina, which is a type of prayer. It's basically where you read a passage 3 times. The first time is you just read through the passage. The second time you read through it again and you ask God for a word or a phrase to focus on. The third time you read it, you focus on it and you ask God, what does this mean? I often use the gospel reading of the day. Actually, I use the Laudate app, which is an app on your phone, or you can go online and just look up Catholic readings for the day. And I just read through the gospel, and I do that. Sometimes I'm like, you know what, let me just open the Bible and just find a random passage. Or you can just, honestly, it's called Bible Bingo, and just open the Bible up to something, and there you go. And you can just read it. There are apps and things like that where I think it's called Verse of the Day. There it is. You can sign up for it, and it just sends you a Bible verse to your phone every single day. Just get up and do it, and just try to put it in your life however you can. And the second question is, what's your top 3 Bible verses? So my favorite one I will always stick to is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. I have used that Bible verse to get me through so much of my life. And then the next 2, 1 Peter 3:15. It says, "But sanctify Christ as Lord in your hearts. Always be ready to give an explanation to anyone who asks you for a reason for your hope." I really love this Bible passage because it tells us how to evangelize, and that you don't need to stand on a corner thumping Bibles at people. All you need to do is to live your life with hope and joy. And then always be ready to explain why you live this way and why you feel this way. It's a reminder of that to me, and how I just have to be me and be a daughter of Christ, and I'll be something different than society, and then I can bring people to him. But I always have to be ready. That's what's important. And then the final one, 1 Timothy 4:12, it says, "Let no one have contempt for your youth, but set an example for those who believe in speech, conduct, love, faith, and purity." It also is a friendly reminder, and it's what God's telling me, like how I act is how I need to set an example for people, and it will change the world with how I act. And I love quoting this to the youth that I work with, middle schoolers, even high schoolers, because it's kind of a challenge to them to step up and act different than the world and to be an example. Next one. What is an average work day week as a youth minister? I feel like this could be a series unto itself. A youth minister is a very misunderstood career and a very misunderstood job. I'm going to be really honest. It's all over the place. I don't have a constant schedule. Every day is different. Every week's different. So to give you like, this is what I do every day is really hard. Now, I am thinking about doing a fun little like vlog here on the Beauty and the Chaos where I show you what I do in a day or maybe in a week. But to make it simple, as a youth minister, like be prepared for inconsistency and for your job to be different all the time. And it also depends on like what your job is. So me, as the associate director, I have like director things that I have to do, associate director things, sorry. And yeah, I'm responsible for other age groups, so I have to take care of stuff for that as well. Retreat weekends are different. Lock-in weekends are different. When I do stuff for the school, it's different. If I'm going to teach morality for the school, the morning is taken up by me teaching morality to 8th graders. So yeah, so if you want to be a youth minister, be ready for your schedule to be absolutely bananas. But I love it. If you guys are interested in me, I guess showing like what a youth minister does, I guess we could do something like that. Just put in the comments if you want to see what we do. Maybe in a week. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be hard because, like I said, our schedule is different. But just let me know. And then the next couple, a little bit more theological and a little bit more serious. So get ready, buckle up, and here we go. And these two I can actually answer, so we're good. What would you tell someone who said that science isn't real and only to follow the Bible? I think this is a misconception that happens a lot, that if you're Catholic or you have a faith, you can't believe in science. Well, here's the truth. Oftentimes, science and faith works together. Yes, the Bible tells us how to live our life and helps us make decisions and things like that, but there is a reality to our world where there is science. There is a science to our world. And God actually, provides us with that science to better understand this world. Years and years ago, right, we didn't know how big the galaxy was or our universe. We had no idea how big God's creation was. Now, you fast forward to now, 2021, you can look light years away and see how massive our galaxy is. And if that doesn't prove the existence of God or prove the awesomeness of God and that he's thought of making this huge universe, then I don't know what does. The other interesting thing is science kind of evolves. We know more and more about our body, which shows how awesome God's thought process was to make us. And again, proves the design, God's design of us was so incredibly intentional. So science is actually a tool to help us better understand the person of God and to help us better understand this world he created for us. And that's kind of how I would talk to this person who said something like this. That we need to rely on science to help us better understand this beautiful creation that God made us. The other thing, too, is that the church relies on science for a lot of things. For example, when we are looking at miracles or when a saint is being canonized, they use science to investigate things. Like, for example, if a person is healed, they use medical science to make sure that that actually happened. Things like x-rays and medical tests and things like that. That's science being used to defend this miracle that occurred. Another one is the tilma that St. Juan Diego had, which had the image of Mary. Science was tested on the tilma to see whether it was painted on or whether it was supernatural. And they found that it was supernatural. Science is used throughout the church often. So it's important that we understand that science can be used to defend the faith and support the faith. But yes, the Bible is also an important key to our faith, key to how we should live our life. So that's how I would answer that question, and you can totally steal that if you'd like to. And then the last question. Why did Jesus tell Peter, "Begone, Satan"? Why did Jesus forgive Peter so many times and give him a position of the power at the end? So this happens in Scripture when Peter basically puts his foot in his mouth and starts doubting Jesus. I mean, yes, it's kind of mean. I don't think I'd want Jesus telling me, "Begone, Satan." A lot of what Jesus says and does in the Bible is an example for all of his followers at the time he said it and in the future. When he says things like "Begone, Satan," it can seem very harsh, but it also is telling us as followers to listen to Jesus' voice, not Satan's voice that may tempt us to do something else. So that is that part. And also, why did he forgive him so many times and put him in a position of power? The thing is, Jesus understood humanity, and he knows that as a fallen people, we are going to mess up. And we're going to make mistakes. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't strive to do good things. We can't strive to not make mistakes. But the reality is we're going to. We're going to make mistakes. And Jesus knew that about his people, knew that about humanity. So Peter, probably unbeknownst to him without him realizing, was kind of the example for all of us. And so with Peter's example of making mistakes and messing up and then becoming in a position of leadership, it's literally like parallel to what humanity is now. I can't tell you how many times I've messed up. I know leaders who have messed up. Like, you just look at the Catholic Church and how many leaders have messed up, right? But they're still in positions of power, just like Peter. Jesus did this to show us you don't need to be perfect to be in a position of power. You just have to be willing and say yes to the will of God. And that's why, my friends, I believe why Jesus did that, to be an example for us. So that's all I got for questions, y'all. I can't wait to get more. A little plug for Thursday. Don't forget it's the Halloween party, so please make sure you come, and we're gonna have a fantabulous time. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.